and welcome in to the OH Report Studios. What a time to be alive here at the OH Report, because we have your very first ever volleyball show, and it's the block party, and I'm excited to be here. My name is Jonathan Langdon. Have you ever heard of anybody in the room, has anybody ever heard of anybody that has a volleyball show? The answer is no, until now. Here to give you all of the great action from the first half of the season as we get into the swing of things with this volleyball show. First of all, how about the setup? Great setup behind me. Net, of course, doing this only on the OH Report on Facebook and on YouTube. You can find us for most of the weeks on Thursdays during the season. So I want to just kind of brag on myself a little bit. You may be wondering, who is this guy? Why is he so excited about this? And what are his credentials to host a show like the block party? Well, they're sitting on the desk with me. I want to pull up these shirts. I am an intramural champion. Ignore the B League. I am an intramural champion. This is the indoor. See, I've got credentials for both. You've got the indoor champion. You've got the sand volleyball champion as well. So I fell in love with the game while I was attending college at Mount Vernon Nazarene University. This was about 5 years ago now. And it feels like now just wanted to do my part, do everything that I can to grow the game, make things really exciting at the high school level. And I feel like we've been doing that these last 2 years, but we are really taking it up a notch with this special show that you see called the Block Party. First of all, you may be also wondering, why is it taking so long to get this show on the road? Well, here we are. We've got a lot of catching up to do, and I want to kind of go through my favorite things that I've seen with my own eyeballs or across Ohio when it comes to the game of volleyball. Early on in the season, we had a lot of great teams take a step forward, none bigger than the Mount Gilead Lady Indians. They're going to start our show because they won their first KMAC game since 2021 when they took down the East Knox Lady Bulldogs a few weeks back. Got to talk to them post-game. They're seniors who had never won a KMAC game up until that night. We got to talk with them. Here's what they had to say. The seniors helped lead this tribe to their first KMAC win of the season. Not just that, but the first KMAC win, I believe, for any of you.
Today. For the past couple of years, we haven't had, at least since I've been in high school, we haven't had a KMAC win. So,
yeah, but congratulations on this, taking down East Knox tonight. Just kind of, Cassidy, starting with you, wearing the headset, just take me through the emotions of a day like this, is where you're able to come out on top.
I think we wanted to first just come in cool and collected. We knew we were gonna make mistakes, but we just made sure that we were calm and focused. I know it was a lot. It was very exciting for all of us to win. Just because we haven't had that in so long, and so to have that win with this team is just an amazing thing, definitely. Yeah, I would say the underclassmen are something that's really important to us, especially McKinley and Kylie stepping up. McKinley's a freshman on varsity. Kylie played her freshman year last year, so just them being able to step up and help us in that back row and in that front row is extremely important.
Well, all these girls, we all know how to play as a team, and when we pray and when we really work together and bring up the energy before the game, we really know how to work together and talk and just communicate on the court.
What a game that was. I'm looking at the set scores right now, 25-23 in favor of East Knox, and then Mount Gilead just runs away with it, but not by much. It was 29-27, 25-23, 26-24. That's two extended sets there in that game. Fantastic stuff from both teams, East Knox and Mount Gilead. But the Lady Indians, as we said, get that first win since 2021. You saw that conversation that we had with them, with those Mount Gilead seniors. Thanks to Bob and Bob Door Company, your sponsors for this entire show as we go along the year. Abby Leonard, I got to talk to her. 10 kills in that game against East Knox. Cassidy Irwin was the first one we talked to. She had 8 kills in that game. So well-rounded effort from them. But it's not a sad story, a sad ending to the story if you're the East Knox Lady Bulldogs, who did fall in that game. But 7 days later, I got to go see them at the Castle. They were able to take down the Northmore Golden Knights, who were surging going into the game. And Bulldogs were able to pull through and get a really huge win thanks to their star sophomore, Kenley Moore, in the middle, who made some fantastic plays. And I'm telling you what, that East Knox defense is really, really tough. Addison Mosteka is a fantastic libero for that group, or fantastic back row player, front row player for that group. The libero is actually Evie Williams, but those two combine fantastically to make for a really sound defense. Just feels like with Kenley Moore starting to step up in the front row, things are looking up for the East Knox Lady Bulldogs, just as it is for Mount Gilead and their young pieces that they have over there as well. Speaking of that, I just want to segue into another thing that we're catching up with, and just the fact that there's so many teams with young stars that are going to be really huge when we move forward in the next couple of seasons. It's going to make for some really competitive volleyball, not just the end of this year, but in the years moving forward as well. I'm thinking of Northmore that I've gotten to see numerous times with Riley Cooper, a stud underclassman for them. Also Millie Chamberlain and Brinley Epner. Shout out to you guys from the Colt Corral. Got to see you play on Monday against Mansfield Christian. And it just feels like the entire Centerburg team is a very young and a very formidable opponent. We're going to talk about them later on as we talk about our conference of the week. And you can probably tell if you know your stuff about what league Centerburg is in, what conference that's going to be. You can stay tuned for that. We'll get into that in just a moment. Shout out to Bob and Bob Door Company. They are going to bring you this next conversation that you are not going to want to miss if you want to play college volleyball at the college level. We are continuing the block party with a super special conversation. I want to bring in someone that helped me fall in love with the game of volleyball, and someone that has built quite the program over at Mount Vernon Nazarene University, my alma mater. Want to welcome in head coach Kendra Mosher, her 6th season with the Cougars. In the middle of a fantastic year as well yet again. Just feels like every year, consistent improvement among your squad. You're ranked 16th in the nation right now as the poll came out yesterday on Wednesday. Just talk to me, Coach. What has triggered the group as of late to kind of have this recent success these last few seasons?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I would say really just consistency within our program, consistency within our coaching staff. We've had the same coaching staff now for the 2nd year in a row. So that's been really nice to just kind of be all on the same page. The girls know our expectations and all of that. But really just once we got a taste of success and making it to nationals, I see you're repping our shirt. Once we made it to nationals, we pretty much decided we don't want to ever not make it to nationals. And so that's a goal every year for our team. And we've been able to do that the past 2 years back to back. So I think that drive, that hunger for success is really motivating the team. And it's been really fun to be a part of.
Yeah, and this is actually from the first season you made it to the tournament.
Right.
Last year, you guys did some fantastic things as well, but I just felt, just going back to that Indiana Tech game, which was the first year you guys were able to make it out to Sioux City, Iowa, it just felt like the shift was there in that moment where this team just started to figure out, okay, this is where we can be and we can even go further than this. What do you think that group specifically from 2023 was able to do to kind of get you to where you are now?
Yeah, that was a huge group. I think you really hit that nail right on the head, because the years prior to that, I was watching a selection show with like a slight chance, like maybe we'll get in. And then in 2023, we knew without a doubt we were getting in, and being able to host, being able to beat Indiana Tech with a huge crowd at home, it was just so memorable. And I think those girls that we had at that point, all they did was believe. They kept working and grinding and just believed that our team was destined for greatness. And because of them, they just opened the door. They opened the door for our team to keep pursuing that. And when new girls would come, they would really fill in the new girls and like, you don't know what any of this means, but I'm here to tell you that hosting opening round and winning and making it to Sioux City is like one of the coolest things that's ever happened to me. So they did a good job of spreading that with the girls too.
Well, of course, at the NAIA level, we have a lot of great schools in the area. You guys are towards the top when it comes to quality and just overall wins on the table here in Ohio. I just want to ask you, what makes this a special role in your eyes, what kind of motivates you coming into the office every single day?
Yeah, I just love this role. I love Mount Vernon Nazarene University. So I played volleyball here, and had a great experience. So I think that just motivates me. I know that there's nowhere else in the world that I'd rather be. And so when you know that, it like just allows you to put a lot of motivation and effort into what you're doing, because this is it for me. I see a lot of success and things coming from these girls from this place. So, and just spending the time with the players. We have a lot of fun. We're really close. We're a goofy team, and I think it's really fun to watch our team play. And I think it's evident to see that when you watch us and stuff. So, like you said, you started really liking volleyball once you got to see our team play a little bit more. That's kind of our goal, is we want people to watch us and know that volleyball is the best and we love it. And so I'd say that's what keeps me coming to work every day.
Yeah, and that's exactly the goal of this show as well. So as we pilot this show, there's a lot of high school athletes that are going to be tuning in, hoping to see if they got their top play on here, of course, later on in the show. But just talk to me about recruiting, because you do a really good job at this. I've seen your freshman class this year and the years prior. It just keeps going up. But what can a high school athlete take away from this conversation if they want to play at the next level?
I would say it's really important to really just know what you want in a school and to just put yourself out there. I would say it's really important to start that early as you can, but also making sure you kind of have something to back that up. So sometimes, like when people send me emails, it's including film, it's including here's my schedule of when you can see me play, stuff like that. But honestly, right now we're just really looking at people who are just all in. Like they see a program that they're interested in and they will want to be a part of that and do whatever they can to help it get better, be stronger. So I would say just showing college coaches how much you care and that you care about the team. Personal accolades might come along with that, but your main goal is the team, the program, and the culture. I would say those things go a long way in conversations with college coaches.
Well, that's a great segue, because the next thing I wanted to talk to you about is team camps, which you guys do a lot of. A lot of schools that we cover on the OH Report have been beneficiaries of your camps. So can you just kind of take me through the results that you've seen through that, the quality of play here in the area because of the ways that you've been able to work with these high schools?
Yeah, that's been a huge opportunity for me to get into high schools and not only help them get better and teach them and kind of educate their coaches on stuff, but also like a great opportunity to see people play. And, we actually have a few local girls on our team. We have a Fredericktown player, we have a Johnstown player. So I love recruiting local talent. And those have been awesome opportunities for me to just build relationships with those schools as well. So maybe at the time we aren't actively recruiting anybody from their school, but now I have good relationships with their coaches. They've been able to see that MVNU is a talented volleyball program. We have a lot of fun. We have a good culture. So I think that door is open, which is awesome for the future. And I'm really, really grateful for those relationships.
Yeah, you get to join in on the fun with me, because we've been highlighting and catching up with the first half of the season. Can you think of any success stories from teams that you worked with in the summer and how they're doing so far to start this year?
Yeah, so I actually did both Fredericktown and Centerburg, and I know they had a really close match the other day, and those are both really good teams in the MOAC? No, KMAC. Yeah, it took me a second. And Shelby has a lot of talented players. We've done Shelby's camp for the past couple of years. So I think there's just been a lot of competitive games. That's what I've been excited about. We did Mansfield Christian and Clear Fork, and they just had a 5-set match the other day where Mansfield Christian won that. So it's just been cool to follow up and to see the coaches kind of put into work some of the things that we worked and taught the girls, and just the girls having fun and just spreading the joy. That's all we really want, is to spread the love of Christ, and just how much volleyball can be a good platform for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually at that Mansfield Christian game. It was a really competitive one. And then Also, I just think it's exciting because for me, I remember coming in watching volleyball last year. High school volleyball was the first year I covered it. I think the first 6 or 7 games that I got to call were sweeps. But this year it's been completely different. It just feels like the competitiveness with each school kind of getting closer and closer to kind of a middle ground compared to some of the other years where we've seen some runaways. So is that kind of the assessment that you've seen as you've looked at tape and looked at recruiting?
Yeah, I would say so. I just think that the playing ground is getting a lot more even. Maybe you're seeing rosters full of talented players and maybe a little bit less of like, we have one mega talented player. It's just a little bit more well-rounded rosters this year. So that's been really fun. And those girls are just having fun. I love watching high school volleyball. They cheer like crazy. They get excited. And so I think all of that, just the love for volleyball in America is growing. And I think that's being evident with more girls playing high school sports and the competition within those matches.
I'm going to give you a chance to shout out some people for here in a moment, but first I want to let you shout out your program and MVNU as a whole. Can you think of anything that young athletes can get involved with right now to kind of get with you about potentially being a MVNU volleyball athlete?
We really try as a program to do a lot on social media, so I think that's a good way to learn about our program more. We have Instagram and Facebook and X, but I would say Instagram is probably our most popular. So follow us. Sometimes recruits message me on there and send us their recruiting profiles and things like that. You can definitely reach out to me via email and come to a game. Come to a game at MVNU. I am available after the matches, before the matches, whenever people have come and stopped by. I always talk with them. But our team is special. It's really fun to watch them play, and I think that we're kind of using that as an inspiration for girls to keep up with the sport and hopefully inspiring more college volleyball players in the future.
Have you had any teams out for a game yet? Because I remember whenever I was there, I saw a couple come to a couple home games.
We had one of our volleyball alums, coaches 8th grade, so her team was there. But no, that's a great thing too. We definitely will allow teams to get in for free. So all you have to do is email me and we'll connect with our promotions director. Teams can get in and watch college volleyball for free.
Well, there you go. There's your nice little free team bonding trip if you're listening onto the show here tonight. And then also just give any shout outs, anybody that you want that may be listening into this conversation right now, and just anyone involved with the program right now.
Yeah, I mean, I always want to shout out my assistant coaches. They're awesome, Molly Galashevsky and Macy Zinzer. We're having a blast. They do a lot for my team. And also just the MVNU athletic department. A lot of great support within our athletic department. Our athletic trainer, we've got injured girls that he's been nursing back to health, and just really grateful for just the support that our university gives our program. We have a lot of people coming to our games, so keep following along, keep cheering us on. We love the support.
You know, I will be cheering you on from the sidelines as well. Excited for you guys as you move on the rest of the season. Coach Kendra Mosher, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me, Jonathan.
As we look to take volleyball to the next level in the area, it's only right that we got a college coach to talk to you about recruiting. Thanks to Kendra for joining us for this first episode. We're going to take a quick time out. We're going to come back with plenty of lists, one that you're really going to be looking forward to because your top plays, your top shelf highlights are coming up next. Stick around.
The Block Party, North Central Ohio's only volleyball show, is presented live and free to fans by the door experts at Bob & Bob Door Company, dedicated to providing fast, friendly, and reliable service for over 56 years. And now, let's get you back to The Block Party, streaming exclusively on OH Report.
The Block Party continues thanks to Bob & Bob Door Company. Here on the OH Report, I'm Jonathan Langdon, your host. It's time now for us to get back to what we do best, and that is lists. It is time for your top shelf highlights from the first half of the season, caught by our OH Report cameras and submitted by you, the viewers. Coming in at number 10 is East Knox sophomore Kenley Moore, who dominated the middle in her showing at the Castle against Northmore. Watch her wall up for the solo block as the Dogs got their first KMAC win of the season in convincing fashion on the road. Let's stay close to the Castle with one of the KMAC's best hitters, another sophomore, Centerburg's Sedona Weisbrod, comes in at number 9 as she uses the flick of the wrist to spot the corner in Centerburg's sweep over Northmore. Number 8 comes straight from the bleachers as Colonel Crawford's Ella Aggie puts this kill on a platter for her freshman outside Reese Redmond to propel the Eagles to a win against Van Loo in their road opener. This ace is the place for number 7 on our list. Check out this serve from Clear Forks freshman Millie Chamberlain. The young Colt flirts with the near sideline, leaving Freddie Head spinning in the 3-set victory over Fredericktown. Those Crawford Eagles aren't done yet on our countdown. Reese Redmond returns at number 6, this time with a little finesse. The roll shot to get this past the Bucyrus defense is a thing of beauty, and the freshman went on to stack 19 kills on the Redmond en route to another victory. Stella Blake shows off the vision, switching up the body to call 8-ball corner pocket. The Rough Riders sit 9-5 on the year heading into the second half of the season. It's a trifecta of Castle clips. We return to Northmore as the Lady Knights this time show off the defense. Watch Mary Dean get a hand on this ball and Jillian Zager race to the sidelines to help win this point in their most recent showing against Cardington. The Golden Knights are back to winning ways just in time to make a late push for a piece of the KMAC title. The Blue Devils make their block party debut at number 3 as Carrie's Riley Stoops slams this down with authority in their regular season opener against Columbus Grove. How about the emotion after the play from the junior? This Carrie team is quite scary as they sit tied for first in the Northern 10 with Buckeye Central. We've got to show more love to the defense, which is why East Knox returns to the countdown at number 2 with Addison Mustaka laying out for this ball as she punches it up for her teammates to finish off the volley with the point against Ridgedale. And my number 1 play on this first installment of our top shelf highlights comes from Monroeville, where Addie Adams lays down the law right into the face of this poor Seneca East defender. The senior has the Eagles rolling in the Firelands Conference as they are the team to beat with a perfect league record and an overall record of 12-2. And here's your list of top shelf highlights from the first half of the season right here on the Block Party, presented by Bob & Bob Door Company. A nice look from the top shelf there with my top 10 plays that I saw from the first half of the season and that you also sent in to me at my email, john@oh.report. Now, typically, we do let you vote on these sort of things, which we plan to do in future episodes, but we wanted to get the ground running a little bit. Want to see some more challengers to some of these athletes that sent us some clips in the last couple of days. If you want to be highlighted, again, my email is down below, john@oh.report. Now we move on to, now that we're caught up, our moments of this past week, which honestly, we had a lot of volleyball going on. So I'm really excited to just kind of breeze through a couple of my favorite things that I noticed as we moved throughout this week. I was with Travis Berardi over at the Castle as Northmore went and played against Cardington Lincoln and won via the sweep. They broke a 4-game home losing streak. But that's not what I want to highlight from that Tuesday night, because we had something go down over at Seneca East High School as they took on Buckeye Central, and unfortunately the hosts are not on the bright side of this highlight. Instead, it is the Buckettes who were able to rally down from 24-18 to win set number 1. You're seeing every single point right here. 8 straight points, never easy to do, let alone when you are down to just one mistake and you lose the set. Buckeye Central, they were able to capitalize on some Tiger errors towards the end of this set, and that would help them cruise to a sweep on the road. They win 26-24 in this set, 25-22 the next, and then in that final set, they were able to win it 25-18. So Buckeye Central looking to be another formidable, yet again, formidable in the N10 conference as they continue to elevate their record. I'm excited to see Buckeye Central continue to just pile on. Megan Seifert had a great game in that one. She put together 15 kills. Of course, they've still got Marin McDougal involved in things. So she's been a really bright spot for that Buckeye Central squad. Seneca East, a tough loss for them. They moved to 5-9 after that game. However, they are still in a really good spot in the N10. I believe that was just their third loss, or maybe even second loss in the N10 over there. So Buckeye Central, big comeback. Josh Banks was there on the call. Let's go ahead and take a look earlier in the week at a game that I was at over at the Colt Corral as Mansfield Christian got the job done on the road in non-conference, winning in 5 sets. And they did it for a second straight game as they went to the distance with South Central in their last one before this competition. But looking at the set scores, 25-20 Clear Fork, 25-20 Mansfield Christian, 25-19 Flames, 25-23, a really competitive set 4. And then the Flames just ran away with it there at the end. They moved their record on the season to 6-7 at the time of this recording. Clear Fork Lady Colts, we bragged about their youth earlier in the show. It's been a rough go as of late. They sit 3-10 on the season in a really tight MOAC that we'll have to spotlight sometime soon on the show later on. But the Flames, they get a big win. Never easy to win, period. But it's also really tough to win 2 straight 5-set wins. So I wanted to highlight that. Congratulations to them. So shout out to Buckeye Central, shout out to Mansfield Christian. Some great games on our OH Report airwaves this week, but none were bigger than what we saw last night over in Monroeville because they took on Norwalk in a great game, by the way, but it was not about the result. It was about the occasion. Head coach Kendra Snook got to talk with us after the game about what made last night so special.
Touching night here. Monroeville community showed out. What a crowd, but it was the Delaney game as we honored 2022 Monroeville student and should have been graduate Delaney Giles. I know you know her mom, Kristen, well. She's your libero tracker, and Dad Jerry were here. But first, tell us about what this game meant, not only to the Monroeville community, but Maddie was very soft-spoken about how you talked about her.
Yeah, it's getting to the point where even though I feel like it was just yesterday, it has been 4 years. So these kids were junior high kids. Some of them had siblings that were on the varsity team or in the high school. So it was a little closer to home to them. But, it's my job as a coach and, mentor to these kids to always remember who Delaney was. And so we had a little bit of a 10-minute conversation in the locker room about, that Delaney's favorite sport wasn't volleyball, yet the volleyball team is the one that does that for her, because she passed during the season and how it affected us. But what Delaney was she was a great teammate. She had great energy about her. She always worked hard. She, is that coach's dream that, she'll do whatever you need her to do. And I want future generations to remember that and remember to go out and play hard and to go out and have fun and to go out and be a good teammate. Because if these kids remember that it is just a game and it's fun and it's exciting, we'll be a great program for years to come if we play like Delaney did and if we continue to do that.
And that last part that we heard right there from Coach Snook is exactly why we're doing this show, because just want to make sure that everyone knows volleyball is a special sport, and we want to make it as special as possible. And Monroeville's doing the right thing. They sit 12-2 right now on the season after that win over Norwalk, who is a very good team in a higher division at that. So a great result for Monroeville, a great night for the community as they honored Delaney Giles, who lost her life back in 2021 to a car accident mid-season as she was playing for the volleyball team. Great athlete, resembled everything that Monroeville is and currently sits right now, especially in the volleyball game. But yeah, Monroeville gets that win. The set scores, they had a really tight first set with Norwalk that they lost 28-26, but after that, There's a reverse gentleman's sweep, as you could say, as the Eagles continue to fly ahead in the standings. Looking forward to a nice run at the second half of the season. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with our first conference spotlight of the season, and you may have gotten the teaser earlier. We're going to be talking about the KMAC when we come back on the Block Party on the OH Report.
The Block Party, North Central Ohio's only volleyball show, is presented live and free to fans by the door experts at Bob & Bob Door Company, dedicated to providing fast, friendly, and reliable service for over 56 years. And now, let's get you back to the Block Party, streaming exclusively on OH Report.
And welcome back to the Block Party presented by Bob & Bob Door Company. I'm Jonathan Langdon, your host of this show, and it's time now for our conference spotlight. We are going to be highlighting a couple of conferences in the area, and we're going to start with my neck of the woods, the KMAC. I've seen a ton of games in this league so far this season. So let's take a look at those standings. As you can tell, it's a three-horse race right now as it sits. Loudonville and Centerburg split up 7-1. Centerburg was able to beat Loudonville to give them their one loss. Fredericktown has been on a late surge to where they were able to win against Centerburg in 5 sets to give them their first loss, in fact, in 26 tries. I believe there's a 25-game league winning streak for the Trojans until they went and took on Fredericktown. But yeah, so you see the top 3 there. They're going to be the players when we get towards the end of this season. But just looking at the league as a whole, Northmore, they had a great start to league play. They let a couple of losses slip by. Danville the same way. And then you look towards the bottom of the league, even those 1-6, 1-7 teams, they have had some great moments. We highlighted them earlier on in the show. Mount Gilead getting their first KMAC win since 2021. They have that to build now off of in their program. East Knox had a great win against Northmore. Cardington has put things together as well. They took down Mount Gilead in their game earlier on this season. So nobody here is sitting with zero wins in the left side of their record. So that's definitely a highlight for this KMAC group. Loudonville, Centerburg, Fredericktown. Let's go ahead and go back to focusing in on them. They've got some studs. We're going to start with the Centerburg Trojans. Jasmine Larimore is the leading kill getter for this KMAC league, sitting at about 140 kills, a little bit over that, as she leads the league in that statistical category. Sophie Schultz also up there for Loudonville. Sedona Weisbrod is a nice 1-2 punch with Larimore for the Centerburg Trojans. They are both in the top 3 in that category. And then we've seen Maya Bryant and Ella Boughton. Those two have been late risers as well. Keep in mind, this Fredericktown team lost 5 of their first 6 games. They have bounced all the way back to find themselves at 7-6 at the time of this recording. They actually just wrapped up playing Mount Gilead on the OH Report as this show is going out. So a shout out to those 2 schools as they finished up their KMAction today. And then also looking at some other statistical categories, Sophie Schultz has just been on a different level for Loudonville. She leads the league in aces per set. And then also in the setting category, it's actually been Callan Tilton, who is the new setter for Fredericktown, who has kind of run away with the assist numbers as she took over for Callie Carpenter, who graduated last season. So Tilton definitely getting a lot of work for Fredericktown, and she is one of the main reasons they have really started to surge towards the latter half of the first half of the season. Looking at blocking now, Centerburg, they've got a really solid freshman in Mary Beth Bynes, who is a very prominent presence in the middle. Aubrey Strauss as well for Loudonville, but Alexis Longsdorf leads the way in that category for the Cardington Lincoln Lady Pirates. Now looking at defense, I told you about East Knox and how dominant they are on that side of the volleyball. Ava Fawcett up there. She's also a solid attacker for the group. Same thing with Addison Mosteka. And then they've got the libero Evie Williams in the mix towards the top in digs. And then also to wrap things up, serve receiving, very underrated aspect of the sport. Addison Wolford leads the way for the Loudonville Redbirds, who, as we said, they're towards the top of the league. They look to be potentially getting their first KMAC championship in any sport, which would be very exciting to see if Loudonville can pull that off. They need a win against Centerburg. They would love to sweep the rest of the KMAC schedule to get that done, but the Lady Trojans, they're not going to let that happen too easily. Just keep an eye out in the KMAC for Loudonville, Centerburg, Fredericktown. It's going to be one of those three that comes away with a championship at the end of the year. But it also could be a share, because every single team right now has a loss in the league, and that always makes for some good late season dramatics. And just like that, that's a wrap on our first episode of the Block Party. Thank you so much for joining us for our pilot episode. Also, thank you so much to Bob and Bob Door Company. They will be right alongside with us, bringing you every single episode for the rest of the season. I'm Jonathan Langdon, our producer Adam Thompson, bringing you all of the fun graphics that you saw on your screen today. Also want to shout out, this Saturday, the Buckeyes are off. No football, no college football for the Ohio State Buckeyes this Saturday, so you have no excuses to tune in to our only broadcast of the day, Upper Sandusky at Crestview. Got some volleyball action headed your way in the early Saturday morning. That's going to do it for us. Thank you so much for joining. Hope to see you back next Thursday for some more great volleyball action as we highlight the area here on the Block Party.